Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm back with you again with another tutorial. Now this one is exceedingly long because I'm so OCD. I did this tutorial in painstakingly autistic detail. But first, before we get to the tutorial, let's get this YouTube stuff out of the way. If you like the video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it on your social media so other people can learn how to do this. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button and then click that notification bell and select all. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below the video and I'll get back to you. Those are all the free and easy things that you can do to help support the channel. If you want to support the channel directly, look down in the description. You'll find a link to the Ko-Fi page where you can become a channel member or do a one-time tip. There's also a link to the subscribe star. Otherwise, underneath this YouTube video, click the join button or the super thanks button. All right, guys, that's it. Let's get into this. Roll that intro.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Okay guys, this is a how to fix clipping in an armor. I have an armor that I am allowed to use for a follower from Sun Jiang. It's an Exum Demonic, or yeah, Exum Demonic. It's hard for me to pronounce stuff like that. Now this is actually a mesh mashup of the original. The original doesn't have these thigh guards and doesn't have the panties, if you can actually call those panties. But yeah, this is a mesh mashup I made. Now, when you do it in zeroed sliders, it works perfect. When you start using, let's say, curvy, that's when you start changing it, that's when things start to kind of happen sometimes. In this case, curvy works. So fetish, see the clipping there on the nipples, and there's some, let's see, there's some clipping on the leg right here. If we go any higher, opie, there's some clipping right here. Of course, clipping on the nipples and on the legs, you can see it right there. 7 base, probably the same thing. Yeah, there's some clipping there and in the legs. And the strong, probably not so much. Those are the basic CBBE sliders. However, I also want to have it to use my thick slider preset here. She's a little thicker. So we're going to take a look and see what we got to do. There's clipping there. Lots of clipping in the legs. There's a little bit of stuff that's got to be done up top here. Stuff like that. So we're going to fix this. So we're going to go back to our zeroed sliders. We're going to open this in Outfit Studio. And if you've already done your physics sliders, this is built with physics, and you've done the conform selected here and let it do its thing. And then you do your conform all. You let it do its thing. Hit your even movement button each time. And you just let it do its thing. And once it's done, you click your set base shape. You actually got to do that. Now, for the next part, after you do this next part, you don't ever want to do the conform selected conformed all, because you'll basically waste what you've done. Now, we're going to use the sliders here, and we're going to click on one of them. The first one is Apple Cheeks, and we're going to look and see if there's any kind of clipping. And I don't see any kind of clipping going on. There might be some clipping up under the crotch. Maybe. No, that's all good there. So we can turn that off. Click your arms. Check for clipping. There's none there. And you have to do each one of these sliders like this. The back, you want to check here. Check for clipping. None there. And you have to go through and do this with each slider. And when I get some clipping that is a problem, I'll show you what you got to do here. Belly. Clipping there. Big belly. No clipping there. And we're going to go for big butt. No clipping on this, on the legs. No clipping there. Turn that off. Big torso. Now there's some clipping. See where the clipping appears? So you want to make sure you select this in the meshes window, and you go over here while this slider's turned on, and you select your increase mesh brush, and you just give it a hit until no skin appears through it. And I have the X mirror turned on. Sometimes you have to turn off the X mirror and do one side or the other, like this one. See some clipping here. There's some there, like that. Yep. And once you're done, you look around, keep your eye open for any clipping. And then we're going to go ahead and turn that one off. Now we'll do the breast center. See a little bit of clipping here on the nipple. That we'll just fix that a little bit. Sometimes you want to give it a little more. Turn that off. Turn on the breast center big. Let's see. And sometimes when you do these, it will cause clipping in other parts to where you wouldn't think that it would, but it does. So we'll turn that off. Go to the cleavage. See, here's some clipping here under this side. So we're going to scrub that out. Turn that off. Turn on the breast flatness. And there's some clipping there. And in that part there. And it looks like that is good. Turn that off. Turn on the breast flatness. That was breast flatness 2. This is breast flatness 1. There's a problem here. So we gotta just scrub it just a little bit, just to increase the mesh just a little bit. Pretty good problem here. So we're gonna want to fix this. And you can see that it really causes a problem. So we want to do it like that. Maybe Rub it there a little bit. Look on the back. Look on the shoulders. Everything's good there. Turn that slider off. Go to the next one. And you have to do this for each slider to make sure there's no clipping on each slider. And then you will get a good body slide file. So I'm gonna do like the major ones, because like breast gravity 2 doesn't look like the I just saw some just a little bit here, so we'll scrub it out. And breast height, and it looks like it's good there. Doesn't look like there's any problems. And perkiness, because everybody likes perky breasts, right? Of course they do. Turn that off. And then the main one is the breasts. See how much clipping that put in there? So we're going to go ahead and scrub this all out. And it actually increases it quite a bit there. And let's see. Just a little bit there. Let's look at the top. Everything looks good. Back. Everything's good there. Turn that off, and we're going to turn on the breast fantasy, because fantasy breasts are the thing, I guess. So we're going to fix that there, and we're going to fix this here. Scrub it out. Check the other side. Check everything. Keep your eyes open for... It's easier when it's like black armor like this, because you can see the skin. So we're going to turn that off, and then breast gone. See, this is a problem. So we're going to fix that. Fix this one. Because, some guys like really small ones. That's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Breast new SH. Now there's a lot of clipping here. So we want to go ahead and really fill this in. And it's actually good once you do this. Like when you're doing something like this, go ahead and, because you gotta come in here and get underneath. Make sure you get underneath, because that will all clip out and become a problem. So we're going to go ahead and keep increasing this mesh until it starts to look correct. And I think that's pretty good. Now you might want to take a second and go over to your smooth mesh, and you're going to want to strengthen it up, but don't increase your brush size, and just kind of hit the mesh a little bit with your increased mesh button, your smooth brush there, just to smooth it out. It works better if it's high poly armor. I can close that, and I'm going to go back to my increased brush, check for any clipping there. Now I'll turn that off. Now I'll do the symmetry. Yeah, that's the word, symmetry. Aha. See, there's some clipping there. Now if I turn this off, that clipping doesn't disappear. So I'm going to just hit that just to make sure it's done, because without the sliders on. Now brush small. Doesn't look like that's going to be a problem. But like I said, check this every single slider. Slide this up. When you're done with a slider, turn it off, then turn it on, the next one on, and see if you have to actually fix any of them like this. So, same thing, press together. No problems there. Top slope. There's a problem. And that's pretty good. Now the width, that's probably going to do something. Sure did. Kind of fix it like that. And now we'll move on to the butt. And we're going to increase that. And when you do that, there's a problem here. And I'm pretty sure it's going to cause a problem in the legs somewhere. But it did. That's good. Turn that one off. That one's good. Do the butt. Still don't see any problems. That's excellent. Now, you may run into a lot of problems. And you'll have to do a lot of work. It can be quite tedious. Nothing with the butt shape. Doesn't really. Oh, there's a problem there. Yep. So that is the lower. That would be this right here. So we'll go ahead and increase that a little bit. But small. You don't need to actually like decrease this mesh for that. That'll be fine. Calf size. It's not really a problem. Calf smooth. Not really a problem. Chest depth. And if you don't see something right away, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. See what each slider does and what you may have to fix. There's nothing here, just width. Now there's a big problem there underneath the arm. So you want to make sure to go to the piece that it is. Now, if you don't know which piece it is, what you do is you take and you click on this button right here. I don't know what the name of it is. Just pointer. And you just click on it and it'll switch to it. Make sure to go back to your increase brush. And then you want to just clean that up a little bit. That. And that's actually pretty good. So we're going to close that. Chubby arms. Now this might cause some issues in the arms. It doesn't look like it does. No issues in the legs. That's good. Turn on your chubby butt. Now there's a problem with the lower here. We'll scrub that out. Legs are good. Top remains good. That's all right. Chubby legs is going to be a big one. Chubby legs. Yeah, look at that. There's a lot there. So that is the thighs. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scrub that out. but you have to really, sometimes you got to get in close to be able to get it to work. And when you're doing like thighs and stuff, it's actually quite a bit harder because you have to just keep increasing the mesh until it comes out all out on top of the skin. And then you might just switch over to like the backside and increase the mesh like this. Just rub around on it until it starts to give it to you. And this is the part where you might want to use your smooth brush after you do this, because obviously it's not very smooth. And we'll finish this up. Try to get this all so that everything, so there's no clipping here. And it's harder if it's like up in this part, because it's hard to get the brush in there where it'll work. So give it a little extra. I can see a spot right here that needs to be increased. Spot there. Spot there. We'll go ahead and increase that just to be on the safe side. That looks good. Now, what I was talking about the smooth brush, you've already got it set, so just kind of scrub it across, and if you've got your X mirror turned on, it'll be okay. Just kind of smooth the mesh out with the slider on. See, I got a problem there. Now I need to crease that and then smooth it. And sometimes when you smooth it, it will smooth out and you'll get clipping again. You just have to go back and increase it. So that's good. Turn our increase brush on, turn that off, and turn on our chubby waist. Got some clipping here we have to take care of a little bit. Some on the upper part of it. So we'll scrub that out. Good, good. Crotch back. That probably won't do anything. Oh, it didn't. No, it's good. All right. For you upper guys, double melons. Yeah, that's always going to give you some clipping. And if you want to check for clipping, taking over here, click on the pencil tool and then click on your body. When you draw back like this, you can see that there's going to be clipping, because you can see the skin through there. So I'm going to have to actually, for this, I'm actually going to have to, ooh. Oh, see, you got to make sure to click on that. You're going to want to just kind of increase this a little bit. increase the back, because if you click on this and when you draw back, see, I'm going to have clipping in the chest here. So I can go ahead and just do it like that. Hit this a little bit. Hit this a little bit. Hit this. Just kind of increase the mesh all the way around. I see one more spot there. Still on my front here. I'm just going to increase this. Just scrub it a little bit. Right here. Want to increase that. And the top is good. Looks like the bottom's going to be good. Maybe a little bit on the lower right here. Increase this just a little bit. The thighs are actually going to have to be increased a lot. Yeah, see where the thigh, oops, wrong one. And I'm just scrubbing this a little bit, just a little bit. Because you don't need it, it doesn't need to be a lot. It just needs to be when you draw out. Oh, there's a little bit there, a little bit here, one little scrub, maybe a little couple of little scrubs right here. And if you churn it like that, and that should, I'm gonna want to do a little more on the inside of the thighs right here. Just to give it a little more. Maybe do a little bit more on the thighs here. As I churn, I saw a flash of green up here, so we'll just increase this a little bit. That should work. So we can churn that off. We're going to go ahead and churn that double melons off. Don't need it. Forearm size. Sometimes that will change stuff too. Nope. There's a problem with the groin, with the lower piece here. Nothing, no problem there. And I know this is, I know this is taking a long time. And if you're still watching, leave a comment. Leave a comment, yeah, because let me know that you're still watching. And sometimes when you do that, see how it changed that? That's fine. So we will go up to height, hips, upper width. There's gonna need to be a little work done on this one. But it looks like all that looks good. we're getting to the really important stuff. Knee shape. Because there's a couple of sliders that are absolutely important, but you have to go through each of them. Leg shape classic. Now that's going to cause, that caused problems here. That's on my, that's on the lower thighs. That gave me a problem there. I don't see any problems in the back there. Legs thin. Don't see a problem. Muscle abs. Don't see a problem there. Muscle arms. Now that might cause a problem on the top. It did. Right there. So we just scrub that out. Maybe give it a couple little scrubs. Muscle butt. That shouldn't cause any problems. I don't see any. So that looks pretty good. Turn that off. Muscle legs. I see already right here in the front. And then right here. Right here. And then right there. So that one's good. Yeah. Turn that one off. Turn on muscle pecs. That is up here at the top. You turn those on and off, you'll see what switches. And it looks like that's okay. Neck seam. That causes a problem here. So we want to scrub that out. That one's good. Go to the next one. That's all good. And pretty much with the nipples, you don't have to worry about it. Now, you can do pregnancy belly if you want to. You don't have to. I don't really worry about it too much because that's not my kind of gig. So I do push. We're going to do the push-up. And give that a scrub there. Everything looks good. Ribs prominent. Take a look around. That looks good. Round ass. Yes, that's good. Everybody likes a round ass. Shoulder smooth. Everything's good there. Shoulder tweak. Don't see a problem. Shoulder width. Don't see a problem. Slim thighs. Don't see a problem. Go to sternum depth, and I have to move these sliders up so you guys can see this stuff. Sternum depth. Oh. Not really a problem. Height. Not really a problem. Thighs. Okay, see, this is where I gotta do the same thing and scrub this, crease the thighs mesh again. Remember how hard a few minutes ago, how hard this, how much I had to actually do? Yeah. You gotta increase this. And when I'm done, I'll show you with my thick body slide how well it came out. Yeah, sometimes you got to get way down in here close. Just keep scrubbing it until it shows up. And there's a spot there. That looks good. We'll shut that one off. Turn this one on. Tummy tuck. Pretty good. Waist. I don't really see any problems with that one. Waistline. Not really any problems there. Wide waistline is a problem, so we're going to go ahead and fix that. Don't have to worry about wrist size. Now, these last few sliders are the very important ones. 7B lower. There's lots of work that needs to be done. First, we'll do the thighs. So we'll go ahead and keep expanding those out. And then we'll go to the lower here. And go ahead and increase this one. Lower there. And since you've done this, you want to go ahead and smooth your mesh. Just smooth it out. It'll be okay. There, that's smoothed out. Go back to the increase. And I gotta fix my upper here. Like this. And there shouldn't be any problems up top. Turn off the 7B lower and do the 7B upper. This is gonna really, you're really gonna have to do some work. I got to do some work in this a lot because it gives you them big ass boobies. That. Give it some more there. Looks like everything's good on the back. Looks like everything's good on the front. Do the vanilla SSE high. Lots of work that's got to be done here. That one. Hit all these spots. You guys get the idea. This can be very tedious. As you can actually see, it is very tedious. Now I need to do this lower. I need to fix this. And it looks like the SSE high is done. Now do the next one, which is the SSE low. And I got some work to do on the top here. That was pretty quick. Check my thighs. That's good. And then the last one is the old face shape. Now that's an important one too. So you want to make sure that you do this one. Got to do my upper. Like that, and that looks good. Now, turn off all. Now, make sure all of your sliders are turned off. There's one that's not turned off. There we go. But yeah, make sure all your sliders are turned off. That's good. Now, you want to click on your body and then look at it and see what you need to increase. Now I'm going to need to increase this a little bit here. Just to make sure there's no clipping. And this fixes the base shape too, the zeroed sliders. I need more on here. Need more up top here, just that. I can see that I'm going to need it right here. Pull out, and it looks good. Maybe a little bit in the shoulders, just to be sure. And then definitely I need to go ahead and increase these thigh pieces, but just because I know that they're probably going to flip when I do this. So it shows a little bit, but we'll just hit that a little bit there, hit that a little bit there, hit that a little bit there. And then underneath the breasts, right up in this area, we're going to increase that a little bit. There. That should be good. Now you just want to go ahead and turn this off. Want to go ahead and save your project. I always hit 2 project and then save. And close Bodyslide. Close Outfit Studio. Close Bodyslide. Reopen it. Hit my preview button. Everything looks copacetic. Athletic. Looks good. Chubby. No clipping. And curvy. Great. Curvy outfit. Even that looks good. Fetish. That's good. Opie. Looks great. 7 days. Looks great. And now for the big test. Thick. My thick body. And that looks really, 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 really good. Everything is just perfect. And then you just build your armor out just like normal. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. And remember, if you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button. Then share it on your social media. Then subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell for all. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below the video and I'll get back to you. Those are all the free and easy things you can do to help support the channel. If you'd like to support the channel directly, go ahead and use the Ko-Fi link that you will find in the description. To join as a channel member or do a one-time tip, you can use the subscribe star link, or underneath the YouTube video you can hit the join button or use the super thanks button. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and remember, until next time, keep your sword sharp, don't be a milk drinker, and always watch the skies, traveler.